This is a digital animation studio void of props, atmosphere, weather plants, everything. It's the beginning, though, of the creation of an ancient Chinese garden that was drawn 2,200 years ago, and this project started in 2012. It's here that our animation begins. The discovery of an old book that contained Chinese garden designs from the Qin dynasty had one particular garden that seemingly held many of the traits of Chinese design. It was architecturally created, at least on bamboo paper, during the rise of the Qin under the ruthless Qin Shi Huangdi, the first August emperor, and this marks the most significant event in the formation of China. He performed a great many reforms that bound together the small states and kingdoms to form one empire, China. The task here at hand, then, is to build one of these gardens for the very first time, digitally walk through it, populate it with Qin society Chinese characters, and turn around on its far side to look back towards the architect, out of the picture. To see whether his composition is as beautiful looking from inside out as it is looking outside in. Currently, the original drawings are held in the Beijing University. The digital architecture created here and the layout of elements not completely visible in the original drawing, but which follow the philosophers of ancient Chinese garden design, have been added as accurately and tastefully as possible, keeping in theme with the style of the architect who drew this and many other garden designs 2,200 years ago. In order to keep the creation as economically engineered as possible, we've used primitives, or basic shapes, and mapped these with multiple graphical layers to obtain the finish and quality required. Texture maps, opacity, bump, normal, specular, reflection, glow, and finally grunge and blend maps, which are in this case the dirt and algae that creeps along the wall edges, all of which, when layered together, create a more realistic usable object. So that you can get a better idea of the scale of this operation, realizing that we've had to create over 340 props, some of the props accumulated over 200 parts each. The parts we required were doors with door frames and the door glass or paper sheeting, as well as door handles and catches, windows and window frames with windows and paper fillers, as well as window openers and handles, a matching suite of garden walls, curved, straights, end ornamentations, roof toppers, wall graduations, garden doorways, garden wall doorways, paths, wall hoods, wall window frameworks, large ornate wall window doorways, and so the list goes on. After this stage, assembly was required to put together the basics and create several themes of each wall and doorway style, because we were not really too sure what colour the walls should be, as the drawings are brush drawn in black ink on old brown bamboo paper. We settled for white, which was a good choice because the predominant colour for a Chinese standard garden is white. So come now and experience for the first time a walk through a garden that has never existed, but that was drawn with the hope that it would have, over 2,230 years ago during the Qin dynasty, when so many reforms were made, including the building of the Great Wall. Perhaps it was this that inspired the architect. We'll never know. The Chinese garden is a stunning landscape which has evolved over 3,000 years, built for pleasure and to impress. The more intimate gardens are made for reflection and escape from the outside world. They create an idealized miniature landscape which is meant to express the harmony that should exist between man and nature. A typical Chinese garden is enclosed by foreboding walls and includes one or more ponds, rockworks which mimic an actual mountain range, trees, flowers, and an assortment of walkways, paths, and pavilions. By moving from structure to structure, you view a series of carefully composed scenes unrolling like a scroll of landscape paintings. There are two kinds of garden element. One is the static or fixed point in the garden. This is a seat or place to remain still, which offers a beautiful composition to the eye from this standpoint. The other is progressive. As you walk the path, the scenery changes, recomposing itself as you move forwards through its landscape. The underlying idea was to prevent visitors with the natural beauty that unfolds, starting with the inhibiting surrounding stone walls that were built to protect the garden and the seclusion of the owner. The encircling walls are a part of the garden plan known as view blocking. They're intended to cut your initial vision so that every sight after the wall will be a pleasant surprise. The only hint of glamour hiding behind the wall will be provided by what the Chinese call picture framing. At various intervals from the outside are windows in the wall, usually outlined in wrought iron and carved with ornate design, and they create peep show openings for a passerby to catch a glance or picture of the garden as they walk along its side, but never actually to see very much of it, or the owner, or the premises they lived within. This is one of several educational gardens currently being digitally reproduced by iClonia.com. We hope you've enjoyed what you see here, and perhaps are left with something to consider. Thank you for watching.